And a good morning to you all. Hey, happy Friday to you. I'm your host, Matt Morgan, and thank you very much for tuning in for episode 158 of SOAPBOX Daily. Hey, it's been another week, and we're going into the first week of March 2023. How are you doing? How is your integrity this week? Are you doing the right thing? Are you being the positive change the world needs? Only you will know, onwards and upwards. But, speaking of which, other than doing the right thing and being a good person, today's topic is called Only the Lonely. Now, I know some of you might recognize that title of Only the Lonely, and that's actually a Roy Orbison song. And if you don't know who Roy Orbison is, Google it. He's a classic. He's a legend. Check him out. Excellent music. But it got me thinking about a recent event in my life of one of the people I know, one of my friends. This is one of my virtual friends. One of my friends that I've known for well over a decade, but never have actually set eyes on. One of my gamer buddies. And he recently got into another gaming romance, somebody that he met in game. And it really got me thinking about the whole situation. And don't get me wrong, I've made this faux pas and made this issue a problem before. I've made that mistake before, as a few other people have. You play enough hours, spend enough time chatting with somebody via, chat clients and everything else and whatever. Although you've never set eyes on a person or actually touched this person, you have a connection with this person somehow. Maybe it's common interests. Maybe it's just the way the conversation went. And, I agree. Life is short and everybody's searching for somebody to be with. Nobody wants to be lonely. Everybody's looking for love. And I guess my point today is, and I'm going to be short and sweet and direct to the point on this, is when it comes to finding happiness with somebody and not being alone, my advice is no matter how it is, like my buddy here who met this virtual girlfriend of his finally in person, and I guess has been so lonely for such a long time, has rushed into getting married. To the point where he sent me a message last night after him and I, had a falling out about the whole matter because I told him, I have some red flags here. Regardless, he decided to let me know that he's getting married next month. And I'm sitting there going, dude, what are you doing? But I didn't say that to him. I congratulated him and say, you know what, you deserve to be happy, more happy to you. And I hope you are happy, which is great. And I hope he is happy, but he's been screwed around a few times. But this is what he grabbed onto. As soon as they met for a short period of time, when they finally were not in the virtual world anymore at a distance, finally met and decided to speed things along, and now they're getting married next month. I hope it works. I really do. But this works for him. Maybe loneliness caught up to him and he's grabbing on the first thing that came along. And don't get me wrong, I made that mistake too. I've grabbed the first thing that came along, or I've had stupid reasons for why I've gotten into relationships or escalated and advanced relationships quicker than they should have been versus natural progression. And you can't criticize somebody's decision because they have to make their own mistakes. They have to learn their own lessons. But let me tell you, I'm going to give you some pointers. And this is not via research. This is off the cuff. This is based on my own experiences. Here's a few things to keep into consideration if you're lonely and you're looking for somebody to be your significant other, okay? Here's a few things. No matter how you go about meeting somebody, however it is, whether it's online, whether it's a game, whether it's whatever it is, don't limit yourself to a checklist of they must have and must not haves. First and foremost, don't do that. Long distance relationships can work. Meeting across the world online can work. There's a lot of scams out there and a lot of people getting screwed around. So always be vigilant, be careful, and always look for the warning signs when it comes to this particular matter, because you want to make sure you're not falling a victim to somebody that is playing on your lonely hearts and wanting to, have other malice and take stuff from you. Moving forward, do not have a checklist. Do not limit yourself to, we have to have this and we have to have that and, we have to have similar interests and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, those are really convenient if you can have that, but it's not necessarily something that's required. And I'll give you a prime example. I have been with my wife for 7 years. We have zero in common with regards to interests, hobbies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Zero. But we both have good hearts. We have a level of communication. We feel comfortable with each other. We don't, as I said, we don't have stuff that we like to do in regards to similar interests like gaming and everything else, but we work because we have some common point that draws us to each other. It's not settling because this is my multiple times around. I've been involved in enough relationships, and I've had that checklist, and it doesn't work. And I've thought maybe it's because of my appearance. It's not always the case. I have found, and hopefully this helps you lonely hearts out there. One, attitude is number one. Forget about your looks, forget about your weight, forget about all that crap. If somebody is that superficial to be looking at all that stuff like that versus looking at you and who you are, you don't need them. Move on. There's people that will be worthy of you down the road, but you have to stop looking at the superficial, start looking at the real. Don't have a checklist. Don't worry about that. Attitude's important. Effort is important. It takes two to tango. Both sides have to put equal effort. Both sides have to want the relationship. So both sides, and don't be the only one giving. It's just give and take. It's got to work out that way. Other than that, get out of your comfort zone. Stretch out to meeting people in different areas. Always be vigilant. Always look for the warning signs, but be vigilant. Be proactive in saying hi to somebody at the grocery store or at Walmart or wherever the case may be. Putting yourself out there with a smile. Make the effort to actually attract people so you can get to conversation and get to know them and talk to them and everything else. It's the only way you're going to do it. Versus sitting at home going, woe is me, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that. No, that's attitude and your confidence. You have to work on that, your attitude and confidence. You have to understand that not everybody's going to cater to you and move forward. You have to be able to adapt and accept other people who are going to have their own ways of doing things, just like you do. All right. Other than that, get out of your comfort zone. But first and foremost, and last, whatever, do not settle. Don't settle. Don't settle. Don't settle. If there's too many uncertainties, get out while the getting's good. Don't invest a lot of time and energy into the situation. So, hey, I hope this was some helpful points. I don't want to belabor this any more than I need to. It's a Friday. TGIF to you. I'm going to wrap this up here. It was on my mind, and I want to put a little something together. And as I said, I'm on doing this on the cuff, completely ad lib, completely improv. So, bear with me if I stumble over my thoughts and everything else. But I'm hoping that whatever I put out there today actually helps some of you out there. I come from experience when it comes to this. I've been around the block a time or two to the point where I know everybody by name and I've mapped it. But it makes me sound pretty bad. I understand that. But rest assured, there is somebody for everybody. You just have to be smart about it. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your Friday. I'm your host, Mad Morgan. If you're kicking around this weekend, check out themadmorgan.com. Yes, themadmorgan.com for all our projects and podcasts and everything else now and going into the future. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And I will see you our next episode on Monday.